Roger Wakefield is an advocate for the trades and the largest blue collar influencer on social media. Roger is the founder of the Trades Academy, the Trade Talks podcast, Texas Whiskey Society, and League Pro. Roger built a following of 1 million strong on social without having to do a single dance. And blue collars, they built America. As Roger puts it, the trades are a pathway to a successful life and something to be proud of. Roger, thank you so much for joining.
Nick, thank you for having me. How are you doing today?
All right. My dad was an electrician. You did HVAC. I spent a lot of time on job sites growing up. So I've got a affinity for the things that you're doing. And I think as I was in high school, there's this big pressure to go to college and this weird stigma around doing vocational school or trades. I feel like there's been a shift in that, and I can see it. I can feel it. There's also a big need and demand for those types of jobs. There's a lot of people that are aging out. There's also a joke that AI can't turn a wrench. And so when we look at where the world's heading, there's such a need for what you do and the people that you work with do. Would love to kick things off and just hear a bit about why you're so passionate about this, and maybe a few stories of some people that have stepped into this world and where they are now because of the work that you're doing.
You bet. And I love it because, number one, I love your association with the trades, having family members, because a lot of people that have nobody in their family that's ever been a plumber, an electrician, an HVAC tech, they don't get it. They just think, look, it's a thoughtless job. They go out every day. They just plumb, they just pull electrical wires, they do whatever. But there is a lot to it. And it takes a good mindset to be able to come in and solve people's problems or build something. So I started plumbing really in 1980. I was 16 years old. I was my last half of my junior year, I believe, in high school. And I fell in love with it. So I went back to school, graduated with my class because I'd actually quit the second semester of my junior year. And I went back and graduated with my class. And right after I got out, I tried a couple of other things, but I always went back to plumbing. And I've had a few different careers along the way. I'll get out or do something new part-time for a while. But plumbing it's my passion. It's something that I love doing. And I started my own business almost 10 years ago. I've since sold it. But during running that business, I realized, look, we need more people in the trades. It's hard for me to hire, and not just hire, but hire good people, good, reliable people, good, dependable people. And it blew my mind because I've always made a really good living. So I started talking more and more about that. And then I had people like, Dr. Phil reach out and say, hey, we'd like to have you on the show to talk about the trades. Chris Cuomo. I was on Chris Cuomo with Mike Rowe. And I get invited now to speak on national broadcast. I've been on the Today Show. I get to do things like get interviewed for magazine articles. People want to know something about plumbing or they have questions. And I love it. And I think more people and I'm going to go back and say, maybe even starting in elementary school, definitely middle school, and for sure high school, we need to be telling people about the opportunity that's available in the trades, that they don't have to go to college for. They don't have to rack up student debt, and they can still make an amazing career choice or an amazing profession, an amazing life. They can build all this through the trades, and it's not very hard to do.
I love that. So you're doing good work, and there's absolutely a need here. I was reading your profile, and you've been in the industry for 4 decades.
Forever.
You mentioned you built a business and sold it. And now it's a bit of like I give back to some extent in training others and getting others in the space. But you were also very early with video and bringing that into the mix. And I look at so many business owners that are wearing a dozen hats. They're doing a ton of different jobs. And they all agree that video is important, but like their list of things to do is a mile long. And so how did you make the time for video, and what did it look like to make that a priority for you and your business?
Well, I'm lucky. I had my stepson working with me at the time, and he was already doing social media for me. He had graduated college, had a business degree, so he understood business. And our business was struggling. We were hurting because of marketing companies. And I tell people I spent $47,000 to make my phone stop ringing. And I mean, imagine that. Imagine that the last marketing company that you sent money to literally made your phone stop ringing. He did things completely wrong. So I decided then that I had to learn social media. I'm 54 at the time. I go to a wonderful conference out in San Diego, Social Media Marketing World. I show up and I'm walking down the corridor at the age of 54 thinking I'm here to learn social media, and that has to be Facebook, because at the age of 54, that's all social media is. And I'm walking down the corridor and I see a placard next to me that says something like, get in front of your customers using video. I thought, wow, we could do that. We've done some videos before. It was really just ads trying to sell product or sell the plumbing company. So I walked in, sat down on the front row, and this gentleman comes out and speaks. And the first thing he says is, or one of the first things, YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world. And I shut my book. I thought, man, this guy's stupid. He has no idea what he's talking about. I put my hand on the chair next to me and I'm raising up and I turn around and look at the back of the room, and it's literally standing room only. So I turn back around and look up, and the next thing he says is, and it's owned by Google, the largest search engine in the world. And I'm immediately thinking, wait, we keep sending money to Google for ads. Why aren't we sending money to YouTube? I literally had no idea that YouTube would end up, well, really Google would end up sending me money to make videos. But the good thing about it is this started helping my plumbing company grow, and it grew so big. And I was also growing on social media. So at one point I got to the point of the area where it's like, look, I've got to make a decision. Do I keep doing the plumbing company and slow down on social media, or do I keep growing on social media and slow down on the plumbing company? So we looked at going ahead and selling the plumbing company, and it's turned out to be pretty good for me.
That's amazing. I know you also, not that long ago, introduced a course, I think 2023, and would love to hear a bit more about that process. Like, what was involved in choosing to make a course, planning it, putting it out there? What's the experience like for people now that it's out in the wild?
We launched a course, Plumbing 101, and Plumbing Basics. And Plumbing 101, I think, talks to you about the different types of the trades, meaning there's commercial, residential, industrial. There's service, there's new construction. Then there's union, there's non-union. Well, I've been in every one of these parts of the industry. So I thought, you know what, for me to talk about this is great. But kids getting into the trades, then number one, they always ask, what trade can I make the most money in? And the answer is honestly the one that you love the most. Because if you love plumbing, you're going to want to learn more about it. You're going to want to get good at it. If, say, you're getting in school to be an electrician and you hate getting shocked and you hate electricity, it may be like, look, this is the wrong career for you, and you get out and you never try anything else. So I wanted to ask people from the beginning, what is it you want? What is it you enjoy? What do you like doing? And it starts off with, do you like fixing things, or do you like building things? Because if you like building things, getting into new construction may be a better choice for you. But if you like repairing things, fixing things, the service industry can be phenomenal. Because if you've got that analytical mind where you can look at it, see the problem, see the solution, and then implement that solution, that's what we do each and every day. So I decided to go ahead and put a course out there to start teaching people some of the basics. Nowadays, I teach people how to get in the trades, how to become better tradesmen, how to start their own business, how to use networking and social media to grow that business, launching a YouTube course. So many tradespeople are afraid to step in front of a camera. And when you look at me, I've been doing this for 6 years. So it's not very hard to do if you can figure it out that quick and do things like I have. So we decided to start teaching people that. We're doing a social media launch. We're working on so many different things right now. It's crazy. And you talked about Leap Pro earlier. We bought 10 acres right outside of Dallas. Part of the reason, just so we could build a training center. So now we're teaching plumbing companies how to grow their bottom line by adding the service of leak detection to what they do.
I love that you're offering the course. How many videos is that? How much time are people putting into watching this content? Is there a certificate or something that they receive in the end? Want to get into some of the tactics of like, what are you stepping, what are you signing up for when you go to do this?
If it's any one of the trades, any one of those 4 topics, it's about God, I think we went 8 to 10 week courses on each one of those. There's workbooks. There's things to do along the way to ask you questions. I'm not nationally certified in anything really, so there is no serious certification. But the good thing is anybody that has done stuff like this has come back and said, "Oh my gosh, my boss watches your videos. He said he'd pay for me to do this." Or, "Hey, you know what? And when I was going to school, they showed your videos every day. So I'm going to go ahead and buy your How to Become a Better Tradesman course because I teach people the things that they need to know to move up, to get better job opportunities." If you want to be a good foreman or a good superintendent, just knowing how to put pipe together better is not going to help you get that position. You've got to learn how to communicate. You've got to learn mindset. You have to learn about leadership and management. There's so many different things to learn. And these are the kind of things we talk about in these courses. I'm not trying to make you a better plumber by teaching you how to solder better. I'm not trying to make you a better plumber by teaching you about all the different toilets and how to rebuild them. I'm trying to make you better by learning to invest in yourself and grow your mindset. There's new tools, materials, equipment, and technology every day. If you're not trying to learn this and stay ahead of everybody else, you're just getting further behind. So these are the kind of things I believe in teaching people.
Amazing. That willingness to learn or just being curious, I think, is so important.
It's huge.
Things change constantly, and so staying on top of that is really key. You also talked about just being in the trades, how much problem solving is involved in just the nature of the work, and like narrowing it down to it could be one of these 3 or 4 things, and then figuring out what it is. Where I've only got this amount of material left. How do I make it the most out of it? Like,
yeah, you got the truck and get the pipe stretcher.
Yeah, there's just a natural curiosity and problem solving that comes with the nature of the work that you can apply in other ways that actually help grow your business.
No, and you see it exactly like it is. It's, if you're a service plumber, electrician, or HVAC tech, that's what you're there to do. And it's not just to people aren't paying you to fix something. They're paying you because they want that cold air that comes out at the end. They're paying you because they want that hot water that comes out of the pipe. And that's the way we've got to look at things is look, they're not just calling me because they want their water heater fixed. They're calling me because they want the comfort of hot water.
Mm-hmm.
And when you start looking at everything like that, you realize, look, people are buying the result from me. That's what they're buying. And when you start looking at things like that and find out how do you provide the path to that better, more customer oriented,
Mm-hmm.
and you educate them a little bit along the way so they understand what you're doing, I think doing things like that is really a big deal.
Yeah. And you talked about leadership and communication. And I think if you're going to expect a second call from a client in the space, like that's the thing that does it. They get to know and trust you. And that's one of the things I love about video is it allows you to put yourself out there and people get to see, it's not just the goods and services, it's the care that you bring along with that. And so video is such a great format to give people a taste of who you are before you've ever showed up.
It's neat. You said no, like, and trust. And I've always changed that a little bit. I say people really buy from you if they know, love, and trust you, and you've got to be connected.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that's what social media has done. It has connected me to more people in the United States each and every day that are either looking for help or answers about something in the trades, or they're looking for help or answers about their plumbing system. Mm-hmm. So me putting that information out there has really helped a lot.
This next question might be a little bit of a zinger. It's like, you've been kind of branded the expert plumber. If someone were thinking about doing video for their business, I think sometimes it could be intimidating to say, oh, that's already been done. Like, here's someone that owns that category, that space. Like, why bother, making video or participating on social if I'm in the same industry? I personally don't believe that that's a reason not to do it.
Yeah, it's not.
But I would love your take on, people can look at you and the success that you've had. And I think there is a draw to mirror some of those things, but it's also something that just feels intimidating, out of reach if it's not part of what they're already doing. And so would love to hear your take on that.
I think you're right. A lot of people do. They look at it and they think, well, look, there's already a lot of people doing this. But what I would tell them is look at what they're doing, look at how they're doing it, and figure out how can you do that better? What is it that you can do? Because even if it was you, if you were calling me today saying, Roger, look, I want to find out how to make a YouTube channel and what I can do. Well, number one, you can do one thing that I can't, and that's you can be you. You can be you. You can be your personality. You can tell your stories. You can see things the way you see it. You may not see it the same way I do. Not that your way's right, my way's wrong, or my way's right and your way's wrong. We're all going to see things different, and we've all got different stories. So I tell everybody, look, don't try to be me. Try to be better than me. And say, look, I'm going to do what Roger does, but the way he did this video, I think I can do this better. I think I have a better story for that. I think I have a better tool that does it a different way that he didn't even think about or mention. So there's always a way to look at what someone has done and redo it. And I mean, if you look at it, if nobody had that idea, we'd still all be driving around Model A or Model T Fords, because everybody would say, look, Henry already built the Ford. He built the car. So that's all we're driving. But everybody's looking at it. How do I grow it and improve it and make it better? It's a great way to look at it.
Yeah. I think another piece that maybe plays in here is being on the internet. Anybody, anywhere can learn about you and your business, but the nature of some of these jobs or the businesses, they can only serve, their region or a certain territory or like a certain zip code. And so having that top of mind presence by participating, by putting yourself out there and, not just making one video, but being consistent so that there's more content to watch and people can see you really know your stuff, and they can build that relationship. I think those are so important.
And the cool thing about it, Nick, is, and I never thought about that when I started. I just thought, man, I'm going to make videos. People are going to find out about us, and they're going to call our company, which I think is a fantastic thing. And I think every business out there should be doing this. I remember walking out of the office one day, and Amber, my call service assistant, CSR, call service representative, said, oh, by the way, we got 3 tunnel jobs off of YouTube today. And I stopped and I said, well, number one, we didn't get 3 jobs. This is like 9 a.m. I said, number one, we didn't get three jobs off YouTube today. She said, no, really, we did. She says, we're out digging under 3 different houses right now. We went out last week and looked at each one of them, gave them an estimate. Now we've got dig crews out there digging, and we'll be making the repairs this week. Now, a tunnel job can be anywhere from a $5,000 to a $100,000 repair. That was a video that we had shot, because I asked her, I said, so how'd that work? She said, well, they called last week. They saw us on YouTube. When you make content and you make it well enough that it starts getting viewed and watched and shared and put out in all kinds of other places, people start finding out about you. And the more people that find out about you, the more people that are going to call. And we started in the beginning, we were getting calls from around the country, and we still do every now and then. Everybody's like, hey, I want Roger to come fix this. Well, number one, you're in North Carolina. That's a long drive from Dallas, Texas. I don't think you want to pay Roger to do that. But it was also driving traffic to our website, which helped our domain authority grow. So we were getting found. At the time I was doing $1 million, we went in one day and searched the word on a blank computer, went in and searched the word Dallas, Texas plumbing. We came up in like the 3rd or 4th spot, and a company down the road that was doing at the time about $75 million a year was right below us. We didn't pay for all that to make all that happen. A lot of that was videos that we had shot that talk about doing work in Dallas, doing plumbing work in Dallas. And that helped us get found for Dallas, Texas plumbing. So it does work. It really does work.
I also noticed your website has a blog section, and a lot of those blogs are paired with video. I guess from a process perspective, which comes first? Is it the written content in the blog, and then you go out and make the video? Or are you making the video first, and then that's helping inform the written content? Is it a little bit of both?
Sometimes it's a little bit of both. We try to do the video first, because it's really easy to come into the video, and after you shoot it, after you watch it, you're like, wow, you know what? I didn't mention this. I didn't mention this. I didn't mention this, but we can add that to the blog. Or, man, even these days with AI, you can literally upload your video, say, hey, AI, watch my video. Now help me rewrite this as a blog, and be sure to include anything that I may have forgotten. And I mean, there's so many different ways that we can all be doing social media or even website work to help us get found. But yeah, it depends. Normally the videos first, but we have done some where we had a great idea for a blog, and it may be one that is going to be really hard for us to shoot or something like that.
And so you also talked about by creating content for social, it helped with your domain authority. You're getting more traffic to your website. We just talked about your blog as another kind of area within your website. Uh, Social's great for search and discoverability. Absolutely. But if that's where the trail ends, if people don't ever make it back to your website, are they really going to become a customer? Probably not. So I'd love to hear more about what has been your experience in diversifying beyond social. What are some of those other channels or things that you're doing now? And this isn't to intimidate folks. You have to do all of this all at once, but social is a great place to start. Just don't let that be the end game.
And I like the way you put it. Social is a great place to start. We literally, when I walked in this conference, I literally thought Facebook is social media. Walking out and understanding YouTube and speaking and different things that were taught at this conference, I really didn't know which way to go, but I walked out of that conference on a Friday. By Monday morning, I had an implementation plan. I knew what we were going to do, how we were going to do it, who was going to do it, who was responsible for what, how often we were going to post videos. I mean, I knew everything about it. And I think doing that, starting that, I teach companies, I teach a lot of stuff on social media right now. But one of the things that is really big to me is if you've got a company, if you're the owner, general manager, service manager, operations manager, something like that, you should be talking to your people every day, seeing if you can get video of things that they do. Maybe they ran into a major problem. Okay, set up a GoPro, shoot it, and let's see what we can make happen. And make a post every day, put it on your Facebook if that's where you're at, share it with your team, ask them to share it with their friends. I mean, if you've got a company of 10 people, so you got 2 managers and the owner, so there's 3 different people there, you could do 5 different posts a week. Then you got the people under you that probably each have 200 to 2,000 friends. And if they shared it and commented about what they liked about working where you're at, now every employee you have, every friend that they have knows what they do, why they do it, where they work at, and why they love what they do. That right there would be enough organic growth to pay for any marketing you ever wanted to do.
That's a great example. Even this podcast, I'm starting from zero on some new social channels, and was able to tap into our team and ask some folks to share clips and pass those around. And we're just getting started and ramping this thing up, but that's something anybody can do, is to lean into your existing network, and it has a big ripple effect.
You bet. It's huge. And if you get your employees involved with it, make them understand, look, the more y'all share this, the more of your friends that understand what we do, the more it's going to help you, because we're going to be busier. There's going to be more work for you. Your friends are going to ask for you. So maybe on a slow day when other plumbers don't have anything to do, you've had somebody call in and request you personally. So the opportunities out there can be great, not just for the owner, but for everybody all the way down.
Yeah. And you talked about just documenting. Like, it doesn't have to be that your employees are turning on the camera and making a video themselves, but if they can capture the thing that they're troubleshooting, or the before and after, or get a testimonial of the customer talking about how great the service was, you can use that. You don't have to use it right away, but at least you've got it.
There's so many different things you can do.
So as you've made content for social, you told one story of the tunnel project that ended up driving leads. Is there a go-to kind of story that's like, we did this one piece of content and it just completely changed our business, or had different results than we expected? Would love to hear some of those highlights.
Well, and it's really easy. My most popular video, I remember the day that we shot it. I was in an orange shirt. I had on my green gloves, and we literally rolled a toilet into the office, pulled a curtain back behind it, backed it up, and we're going to make a video, how to stop a or how to fix a running toilet guaranteed. We shot it in about 9 or 10 minutes, edited it down to right around 8 minutes, somewhere around in there. And I remember after it got posted, my stepson came into my office. He said, "Look, I got to tell you, it's the worst video we've ever shot." I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Roger, it's real plain." He said, "It's just you going step by step how to fix it. There was nothing funny about it. It was not entertainment at all. And it's just you in the orange shirt and the gloves, and we got like 1 or 2 cameras, so there's not a lot of back and forth and different views and whatnot." He said, "I'm just telling you, this is the worst video we've ever done." I said, "Well, let's make sure that we don't do anything like this again." And he said, "Okay." I said, "Let's get ahead. That way we've always got backup. So if we get to this point where we don't like a video, we can put something else in." He says, "Okay." Nowadays, you look at my YouTube channel, it's the best video we've ever done. And we've made probably more money off of it than any other video. We've got more subscribers off of it than any other video. And it's kind of crazy what a video like that will do for your channel.
That is a great story, because I think I often see this pressure to really reach perfection when you're creating video, or that you want it to be great because you're representing your business and putting it out there. But at the end of the day, if the information has value and you're putting it out there and helping answer people's questions,
and it just goes to show even
magic.
YouTube creators have no idea what's going to work and what's not.
I've seen more and more, especially for the YouTube audience, creators talking about content for 2025 being more watered down, it less edited, more intimate. And I think the example you gave, being one of your early videos, but also having this incredible performance, it's interesting to see just what works. So what worked last year might not work today. What works today might not work 6 months from now. These platforms are constantly incentivizing us to create in different ways and post and share in different ways. If you can stay up with that, you're going to get some of the benefits of the free organic reach. But it's also exhausting just to chase, whatever's happening on these platforms, or to see things that might work well on YouTube that don't work well on TikTok. I know one example is a YouTube short must be under 60 seconds. It's getting ready to change. I think it can be up to 3 minutes here before too long. But TikTok video has to be over a minute if you're going to be eligible for monetization. And so, picking a platform, there's so many things to consider. And I feel like it creates a lot of head trash. Like, it can get in the way of getting started, or moving past that first video to make your second and third. So I would just love to hear your perspective on, I guess to some extent, social is a blessing and a curse. You got to participate. It's where people are. We've also talked about diversifying your content and having own channels and things like your blog or your podcast.
Nick, you're completely right. It's different audiences on different channels. And that's why, TikTok wants information really quick, really fast, snap, snap, snap. YouTube, people want to sit down, pull out a bowl of popcorn, sit down in front of the TV, whatever it is. And you've got to understand that as you make that content. So, something you asked about earlier, I would tell every company out there that's thinking about this, make their first 10 or 12 videos, make it based on telling people the why story about your company, what you're all about, what you specialize in that nobody else does. And then ask whoever answers the phone at your company, what questions are you asked every day? How much do we charge? How far will we go for a service call? Whatever price, do you have a service fee? And answer those questions in a video and think about it, make a good, thorough video about it. You do that gets you started. And, you're talking about the difference between YouTube and TikTok. I love making long form content on YouTube, then cutting it in pieces and posting it on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, wherever we want to. And that has been kind of our MO from the very beginning. Let's make long form content. When we first started, all we focused on was YouTube. Then we started doing LinkedIn. When LinkedIn Live started, they reached out to me and said, hey, we would like for you to be one of the beta testers for LinkedIn Live. So I started doing it. That's where I met Switcher. And it was great because it's like, okay, we've got this different platform now, but we handled a little bit different. We came into the studio, we talked business because we know the audience on LinkedIn. Know your audience, know where they're at, know what it is, how they like to absorb their entertainment, because you're literally making this for them. And I think that's something every creator has to realize and has to understand is we're making this content for the viewer. If I'm making you this, telling you why I love my Tumblr, why I think it's the most amazing Tumblr in the world, and why I don't go anywhere without it and all this, I'm telling you about me. If I tell you, look, you're going to love this Tumblr. And I really have a feeling you'll end up carrying it with you everywhere you go, because you can shut the lid on it, you can turn it over, it doesn't leak. Well, maybe this one did because it's got a crack in it. It doesn't leak, it doesn't drip. If the kid drops it, or if you're out at the office and it falls down the floor, you don't have to worry about stuff like that. And you convince people of that, and then they're like, wow, you know what? I do need that at work. I need this here. I need this here. Every video you make, no matter what platform you're on, is for the viewer. And as long as you remember that, first and foremost, you're going to do good.
I think it's really important to call out how platforms are different and audience expectations are different. Also how that can inform the type of content that you might create. That there's always this pressure to be everywhere. And it may be that picking one platform to start and do that really well is something to keep in mind. I also like how you talked about creating a action plan for your first 10 or 12 videos. And you gave some great examples of what some low-hanging fruit might be when it comes to trying to brainstorm some of that. So I think those are incredible takeaways for folks. Platforms, you kind of got to play the game, but you need to be able to bring them back to you. And so I think looking at your website and your courses, your podcasts, your blog, your other content, you've done a great job of really doing all the things. And before we close out today, would love for you to share how people can learn more about you and what you're doing. Where do they go to learn about Roger Wakefield?
Well, Nick, one of the best things is we've got an app. They can go to wherever they get their apps at, look for the Wakefield app. It's geared towards the trades, every level, from getting in to becoming a better tradesman, to starting their own business, to using networking and social media to grow it. But the website, rogerwakefield.com, is another great place. There are links in there to take you to a lot of the different things I'm doing. And we're rebuilding all that right now, trying to make it better for everybody. But that's probably the best thing. And then if you want to reach out to me personally, connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm normally the one who answers and replies to all my messages through LinkedIn. So that's a great spot there. But other than that, I mean, I'm on every platform. One thing I do when I'm speaking on stage is people that have never heard of me, I just ask them to go to YouTube and search for the word plumbing and see what happens. And then midway, or just within a minute or two later, you hear people saying, oh my God, did y'all see that? It's the first thing that comes up. If people could do that for their business, why aren't they doing it? And that's really just a big thing I talk about all the time. It's a huge thing.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Roger.
Nick, thank you for having me. This has been a pleasure. And thank you for Switcher and everything y'all do. It really got me started and started me growing. So I do really appreciate all y'all's help.